Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 30th April 2023. My name is T.S.V. Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Haribol TRSV Nectar NECTAR Nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been talking about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of what we have been doing in my previous videos in this vlog. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of my other videos. Now let us come back to the main subject. We have been talking about the super soul, the soul, the spirit whole, the spirit spark, the material universe, birth, living entities, etc. We already know by now that when the soul of an individual is wrapped with four layers of the material body, this particular soul, along with that body, becomes what is known as a living entity. Henceforth, it does not remain a mere soul. It will remain a living entity, birth after birth, death after death, for trillions of years and births, till one day it realizes itself, gets liberated from this material world, and finally gets delivered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Till then, it will be at the midst of the rut called this material universe. When the soul comes in touch with the material world for the first time and gets wrapped up with those bodies, its first birth begins. This first birth in the material world for the soul as a living entity starts with a mere cell. From the cell, it progresses to an algae, amoeba, grass, shrubs, weeds, bushes, trees, worms, insects, amphibians, reptiles, animals, beasts, etc. Ultimately, it graduates to the birth as a human living entity. This does not guarantee that this particular soul will always take a birth as a human being henceforth. No, it all depends on the karma of that soul. If the soul is neutral or good, it will continue in human births, birth after birth. But if due to a mistake or bad karma, this particular soul and living entity commits so much of sin that it is unbearable in the civilized society, it may go back to the birth as a beast. This we all must remember and henceforth think of remaining either neutral or good. We should never go into the negative side of life. Now, this particular living entity goes on with birth after birth and death after death till it becomes a human being. This particular living entity in its every birth has only memories of what it has done. It does not have anything else. However, when the same living entity takes birth as a human being, it becomes suddenly responsible for its actions and hence its karma or destiny begins in this particular birth. In this particular birth, it has not only memories but also a complete storage of karma. This complete storage or reservoir of karma in a particular birth becomes what is known as Sanchit karma for that living entity. When the same living entity takes a human birth again, it is as per a slice of that Sanchit karma that is called Prarabdha karma. The living entity is ordered to work out some of its Sanchit karma in the form of Prarabdha karma. This living entity not only tries to work out this karma, but it also goes into action and commits various acts and deeds which are called agami karma, that is future karma. These are karmas which are new to the living entity and which have been committed by that living entity in this life, along with its residue of prarabdha karma. This agami karma goes back to the original sanchit karma and makes that layer of sanchit karma thicker. Next time, when the same human being is born again, he or she gets a slice of that particular new Sanchit karma, which is past Sanchit karma plus this birth's actions and reactions. A slice of that as prarabdha karma is given to the living entity to work out in the next birth. This goes on and on and on till one day the same living entity realizes that it has no end, and either it works out all its sanchit karma or becomes spiritual and thus burns up all the sanchit karma, gets self realized, ultimately gets fed up of this material life and hence gets liberated from this endless cycle of births and deaths. And then, once it has been done, meditates continuously on the self and ultimately gets delivered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the real aim that every living entity must have. He or she must work out all his or her sanchit karma or even before become spiritualized, self-realized, liberated, and ultimately get delivered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once the deliverance of a living entity is complete, he or she becomes a soul once again, albeit more experienced and mature, and thus he or she can offer to become the hands and legs of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Either this living entity need not come back again to the material world and remain with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or as arms and legs come here to complete some divine assignment given by God to this particular living entity. All the great sages, rishis, maharishis, and spiritual gurus, plus other great men, scientists, etc., are those people who came here to complete some assignment from God as per His wishes and orders for the sake of the existing humanity. Jesus Christ, Guru Nanak, Gautam Buddha, other monks, rishis, saints, etc., Prophet Muhammad, and then inventors, scientists, intellectuals, philosophers, etc., are people who have come here with a divine assignment. We all must consider ourselves lucky if we meditate on God, get delivered to Him, and come back into this material world not just as an ordinary birth, but as a person who comes here to do some divine assignment. Otherwise, we may, as experienced souls, remain with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular subject. Please give me your own expert ideas, opinions, and thoughts so that I may blend everything together for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video. It is Good Morning from TSV Raghavan.